Okay people, Doc again, part 2 of Virago 535 forks. In the last video I showed you stripping down the forks from the bike, stripping the forks into their component parts, replacing the fork seals and the fork oil. In this video, it's going to be a quick one. The forks themselves need a little bit of TLC, the outsides, from the road, the salt, because I ride all year round. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is actually priming and finish spraying the fork legs black. Stay tuned please. Right, here we go. We've already stripped the forks off the bike. We done that in the last video, and we replaced the oil and the fork seals and the dust seals. Now I've left the dust seals off at the moment just for the spraying, and I will be masking up the rest of the chrome work on the fork leg. Under no circumstances spray this chrome fork leg. Don't think, oh, I'll tart it up with a bit of silver spray. You don't, because it needs to slide in and out of that fork seal without any hindrance. It's a precision fit. I'm only going to be spraying the bottom leg of the forks. All I'm going to be using is a wire brush just to get in some of the hard areas on the stanchion, and some 120 grit sandpaper. I have these sanding discs for my sanding, my orbital sander. You can use sandpaper, you can use wet and dry, anything. 120 is good enough to give it a nice key for the primer to adhere, and then the top coat to adhere to the primer. Now I'm not actually advertising or endorsing any make or brand, but I do prefer to use Halford's primer in grey. It's a really good primer. It adheres well to the paintwork. It's strong and it dries hard. Secondly, I'll be using again Halford's Gloss Black Spray. Again, once it's had several coats, it gives a really good hard finish, and I've had no problem with the spray. But again, please use whoever spray brand you want to choose. Now just a quick before and after. This is before the fork leg has had any priming, prepping or painting, and this one, as Blue Peter says, is one that I've already done. This has had 2 coats so far of primer, 15 to 20 minutes between each coat. That's imperative that you do that, because that allows the paint to grab each layer and dry or flash off enough before you put the next layer on top. If you put the paint too heavy or too thick, it's going to run, it'll chip, it'll peel. So as I said, this is 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of top coat, all hand sprayed. There's another 2, maybe 3 top coats left to do, but apart from that, they're looking pretty good. So I'll prep up this fork leg. I'll do a quick demonstration of giving some light passes of the spray, and we'll see how they turn out. Okay, all the prep work now has been finished on the forks, and I can't specify enough. I can't really get it through that prep is everything. You've got to make sure that the entire fork leg is sanded, every little area. Once you've done that, you've got a nice key for the paint and the primer to adhere to stick to. Once you've got it all sanded down, it's full of oil from your fingers and your hands if you haven't been wearing latex gloves. So what I always advise and what I always use, you can use paint prep, thinners. It's expensive and it smells really bad. So what I always do is I always use cheap glass and mirror polish. Just spray some onto some kitchen towel, wipe it all down, or a lint free rag, get it all prepped up, make sure that it's all ready to spray. Now I've also got a mask on that I'll be putting over my face when I start to spray, because the fumes from these rattle tins is quite bad and it's carcinogenic, which basically means it's poisonous to your system. So always use either a mask or a ventilating system and always spray in a ventilated area. I've got the door open behind me and a window open as well, so I've got a nice cross flow of air. So what I mean by spraying light coats is I've already shook this can for 2-3 minutes. Do a little test spray. Make sure you got a nice even coat spray coming out, and then the first coat, that's all you're going to do is dust the surface. No more than that. So I'll turn the fork leg round. Dust, I'm just going side to side, up and down. I'm not trying to cover the areas, because as you can see there's still patches. That's all this first coat is for, is to allow a thin layer of the paint to stick to the metal that you've keyed with the sandpaper. That's all you're doing, is a thin layer. I'm not concerned if there's patchy parts out of the areas not taken or covering yet. That doesn't matter. That's all you're doing, is getting it ready to accept a nice key. So this one I'll hit from the side. Again, nice light coats. I'm about probably 10 to 12 inches away. I'm not holding the can in one area for too long. When you're happy that you've got a nice dusted coat on, a nice light coat, give your tin a little spray upside down until you have no paint come out. That way it cleans the nozzle on the end with thinners, because there's paint thinners inside this tin. There's probably only that much paint. The rest is about that much thinners, and then the rest is propellant, is compressed air. So what you're doing by holding the tin upside down and spraying a little bit through, thinners will always sink faster to the bottom. So you're spraying a little bit of thinners through your nozzle, so you're cleaning your nozzle as well. Because if I didn't do that and I just left that tin there for say 20-30 minutes, the nozzle would start to harden up with the paint inside. So the next time you spray, your spray pattern will get smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's a good idea just to give a little spray upside down. This now I need to leave for at least 15 minutes. In the meantime, I can give the other fork leg another coat, and I can keep swapping back and forth till I build up the layers that I'm happy with. Once we've done that, I'll give you a look at both legs. Then I need to strip the caliper, the front caliper, off the bike in order to prep, prime and spray that black as well. Thank you for watching.